Breaking news. The Las Vegas Aces have lost half their team, 2 top assistant coaches, and their GM all in the same off-season. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. But wait, there's more. Add in a pending lawsuit and rumors of under-the-table deals, and you've got yourself a full-blown implosion. So what's behind this mass team exit? And what's driving A'ja Wilson to tears? Looks like what happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas, especially when it comes to team drama. Are you ready? Let's go. So, for all Aces fans, it's over. It's over. It's over. The reign of the Aces is over. I understand the shortest dynasty in the history of the sport of basketball. You know, I've never heard of a dynasty that won 2 championships and then was done, because you're seeing all the ring-chasing free agents getting out of Vegas. You know what they say about karma. Well, it seems like it's coming back to bite the Las Vegas Aces in a big way. Remember when they were on top of the world, back-to-back champs with a roster that seemed unbeatable? Those days are looking more and more like a distant memory. Let's rewind for a second. The Aces were riding high, their swagger on full display. A'ja Wilson and Becky Hammon were practically untouchable, or so they thought. But then came that semifinals loss to the New York Liberty, and suddenly, the cracks started to show. Now, Coach Hammon's words after that loss are starting to sound less like confidence and more like a warning. She said the team wouldn't be the same in 2025. At the time, we all thought she meant they'd come back stronger. Turns out, she might have been predicting a total meltdown. Well, I mean, Becky Hammon, you were right. Congratulations, but did you really think it would be this different? A roster, the first domino to fall? Kate Martin, the fan favorite and spark plug, was left unprotected in the expansion draft. And before you could say, what were they thinking? The Golden State Valkyries snatched her up. It's like the Aces gift-wrapped one of their most promising young players and handed her to a rival. I'm really excited. This league is all about opportunity, and, you just need one shot, right? And I am very thankful for the Aces and everything I got to learn there, but I'm really excited for this new beginning and to build something from the ground up here with the Valkyries. But that was just the beginning. The real shocker came when Kelsey Plum, the sharpshooter extraordinaire, decided not to sign an extension. Next thing you know, she's been traded to the Los Angeles Sparks in a deal that had fans scratching their heads. Sure, they got Jewell Loyd in return, but at what cost? Especially since Plum is younger, more efficient, and doesn't demand the ball as heavily as Loyd. The Seattle Storm are sending Jewell Loyd to the Las Vegas Aces in a blockbuster 3-team trade that moves Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks. That's according to ESPN. As part of the deal, Seattle receives the 2nd pick in this year's WNBA draft from LA in exchange for the Storm's number 9 pick, while the Aces also receive the 13th pick, a second-round selection from the Sparks. And let's talk about that bench. You know, the one that was supposed to be the Aces' secret weapon? Well, it's not so secret anymore because it's practically empty. Sydney Colson, A'ja Wilson's bestie, gone to the Indiana Fever. Tiffany Hayes, she's joining Kate Martin over at the Golden State Valkyries. And Alicia Clark, she's headed back to her old stomping grounds with the Seattle Storm. Let's start with Alicia Clark. According to Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, the Aces wanted to bring back Alicia Clark. But when Seattle came a-knocking, Alicia was like, you know what? I would love to go back to my WNBA home, which is Seattle. Now, guys, if y'all don't know, Alicia Clark won 2 titles with the Seattle Storm in 2018 and 2020, and now at 37 years old, she is looking to bring her 3-and-D game back to Seattle. It's like watching a game of musical chairs, except when the music stopped, the Aces were left without a seat. 5 key players lost, their entire rotation up in smoke. You've got to wonder what's going on behind the scenes to cause this mass exodus. Tiffany Hayes, fresh off winning the 6th Player of the Year award, is jumping ship to join the Valkyries. This isn't just any player leaving. We're talking about someone who averaged 9.5 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game last season, and is showing she's still got it whenever she's playing it unrivaled. Hayes was a crucial signing for the Aces when she came out of retirement, and now she's walking away. It's like watching your key player take their ball and go home, except in this case, they're taking their ball to a whole new team. And let's not forget about that semifinals loss to the Liberty. It wasn't just a loss. It was a wake-up call. Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray, the Aces' offensive powerhouses, combined for a measly 28 points. That's not just a bad day. That's a red flag waving in your face, screaming that something's seriously wrong with your scoring strategy. You want numbers? Let's talk numbers. The Aces have lost approximately 40% of their scoring output from last season. That's not a dip. That's a nosedive. It's like watching a high-flying circus act suddenly realize they forgot to put up the safety net. So, what's driving this mass exodus? Is it the rumored locker room tensions? The whispers about Wilson's ego getting too big for the Sin City? Or is it something deeper? A rot at the core of what was once the WNBA's model franchise. One thing's for sure. This isn't just a bump in the road for the Aces. This is a full-on crisis. They're not just losing players, they're losing their identity. The dynasty that seemed unshakable just months ago is now looking about as stable as a house of cards in a Vegas windstorm. And how is A'ja Wilson taking all of this? Based on her social media, she's in tears. You've got to wonder, is this karma coming back to bite them? All that swagger, all that arrogance, all those moments of rubbing their success in everyone's faces. Maybe the basketball gods decided it was time for a little humility lesson. Just when you thought the Las Vegas Aces couldn't sink any lower, the real drama was unfolding behind closed doors all along. Remember when their front office was the envy of the league? Well, now it's more like a ghost town. What's causing this mass exodus from the top down? Let's start with General Manager Natalie Williams getting the boot. The official reason? A vague front office restructuring. The harsh reality, months have passed and the Aces are still without a GM. It's like they're playing basketball without a point guard. Who's calling the shots? Your guess is as good as mine. But wait, it gets even juicier. Whispers are circulating that Becky Hammon might be eyeing a power play. Word on the street is she could be gunning for a dual role as both head coach and general manager, like her old boss Greg Popovich. Talk about wearing too many hats. Is this a smart move or a recipe for disaster? And if you thought the coaching staff was safe, think again. Hammon's top assistants have packed their bags and hit the road. Natalie Nakase, once a key part of the Aces coaching lineup, is now making history as the first Asian American head coach in WNBA history, with the Golden State Valkyries. Good for her, but tough luck for Vegas. Chicago, as we just said, has Tyler Marsh as their head coach. Not to be outdone, Tyler Marsh decided to jump ship too. He's taking his talents to the Chicago sky. Now, if you've been following the WNBA, you know the sky isn't exactly smooth sailing either. So, is Marsh escaping one sinking ship only to board another? With no GM and a coaching staff that's been gutted faster than a fish at a sushi restaurant, the Aces are looking less like the powerhouse they once were, and more like a team that's lost its way. You've got to wonder, what's really going on behind those glitzy Vegas curtains? You know how they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Well, not this time. The Aces' dirty laundry is being aired for all to see, and it's not pretty. From discrimination lawsuits to coach suspensions, this team's got more drama than a soap opera marathon. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Dearica Hamby lawsuit. This isn't just some minor squabble. We're talking serious allegations of discrimination and unfair treatment. Hamby claims she was treated poorly after her pregnancy, and that the Aces management failed to support her during this time. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like the behavior of a championship-caliber organization. The league didn't take these allegations lightly. They slapped the Aces with a record fine of $500,000 and stripped them of their 2025 first-round draft pick. That's not just a slap on the wrist. That's a full-on knockout punch to the team's future, especially when you already have a depleted bench. And just when you think it can't get any worse, there are whispers about under-the-table player benefits. The league's investigating whether players received benefits that weren't disclosed. Now, I'm no expert, but that sounds an awful lot like cheating to me. And if there's one thing sports fans hate more than losing, it's cheating. This isn't just about a few bad apples or isolated incidents. This paints a picture of a team culture that's rotten from the top down. The Aces have gone from being the WNBA's golden child to its problem child faster than you can say, what happens in Vegas? Now, let's compare this dumpster fire to what's happening over in Indiana. The fever, They're making all the right moves this offseason. They're not just changing players, they're overhauling their entire organization. After years of rebuilding, the Fever's resurgence is being strategically orchestrated by a bolstered front office. The return of Kelly Krauskopf as team president, known for her influential role in shaping Indiana's past successes, set the tone for a transformative offseason. The addition of league insider Amber Cox as general manager further reinforced their commitment to excellence, bringing in a sharp mind with extensive knowledge of player development and team building. And to top it off, they convinced Stephanie White to come back as head coach, bringing her championship experience back to the franchise she played for and originally coached. That's a front office dream team right there, and boy did this new front office and coaching staff go to work. The Fever went on a shopping spree in free agency, signing championship veterans left and right. Natasha Howard? Check. Joanna Bonner? You bet. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson? Absolutely. Oh, and they managed to re-sign their star, Kelsey Mitchell. It's like they're building a dream team to surround their new golden girl, Caitlin Clark. Clark's debut season was nothing short of sensational. She shattered 62 records, injected unparalleled energy into the team, and drew league-wide attention. But beyond the stats, her leadership invigorated the Fever's culture, establishing them as more than just underdogs. With a rising core that includes standout players like Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull, and seasoned guard Kelsey Mitchell leading the charge, the Fever's prospects for 2025 and beyond are glowing. The Fever's commitment to nurturing a strong, supportive environment stood in stark contrast to the Aces' season marred by drama. Indiana's approach centered on long-term growth and fostering team chemistry, attracting potential free agents who sought stability and a clear vision. Word within the WNBA was that Indiana's revitalized front office and Clark's magnetic draw were making the Fever a desirable destination for top talent. Are you in a position where you can add some pieces? Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position, and I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her. While the Aces are busy putting out fires and watching players run for the exits, the Fever are methodically building what could be the next WNBA dynasty. They're not just making moves, they're making smart moves. They're creating a culture where players want to be, where they feel supported and valued. You've got to wonder, is this the real reason behind the mass exodus in Las Vegas? Are players looking at all this drama, all these controversies, and deciding they'd rather be anywhere else? It's not hard to imagine a player looking at the Aces situation and then looking at what's happening in Indiana and thinking, yeah, I know where I'd rather be. The Aces have gone from being the team everyone wanted to join to the team everyone's trying to escape. And it's not just about losing games or players. It's about losing trust, losing respect, and possibly losing their future. While the Aces are crumbling, the Indiana Fever are rising from the ashes. They're not just rebuilding, they're revolutionizing. With Stephanie White back at the helm and Amber Cox calling the shots as GM, the Fever are positioning themselves as the team to beat. And let's not forget the veterans they've brought in: Natasha Howard, Joanna Bonner, Sydney Colson, and Sophie Cunningham. These aren't just players, they're championship-caliber mentors for the young talent. Speaking of young talent, all eyes are on Caitlin Clark. The Fever aren't just building a team, they're crafting a dynasty around their new superstar. While the Aces are scrambling to hold on to their relevance, Indiana is methodically laying the groundwork for long-term success. The balance of power in the WNBA is shifting, and it's tilting towards Indianapolis. The Aces' reign might be over, but the Fever's is just beginning.